Good day, and welcome to the succession plan and strategy update call of Industar Capital, hosted by Motilal Oswal Financial Services Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Abhijit Tibrewal from Motilal Oswal Financial Services Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Faizan. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining the strategy update call of Industar Capital. We have with us today our senior management team from Industar Capital Finance, represented by Mr. R. Sridhar, Vice Chairman, Mr. Deep Jaggi, Chief Executive Officer, and Mr. Salil Bawa, Head Investor Relations. Let me now hand over the call to Mr. Salil Bawa, Head IR, to take the proceedings forward.
Thank you very much, Abhijit. Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this update call. We hope you and your families are safe. As mentioned by Abhijit, we have with us on the call Mr. R. Sridhar and Mr. Deep Jaggi. Since this is an update call followed by Q&A, all financial numbers will be covered during the quarterly call. During the discussion today, we may be making some statements that may be forward-looking in nature and hence may involve certain risks and uncertainties. With that, I will hand over the call to Mr. R. Sridhar to begin the proceedings of the call. Thank you all once again for being with us, and over to you, Mr. Sridhar.
Good morning to all of you. Let me first thank each one of you for taking your time out to join this conference call, and wish you all a very healthy, happy and prosperous 2022. We have had many occasions to interact, particularly during the quarterly results discussion. But this call is slightly different. This has been organized to discuss the leadership change at Industar Capital. As all of you are aware, I have joined Industar in April 2017 with a mandate to manage the transition from a wholesale dominated business to the retail one, and also take this company public. So at the end of 5 years, I have taken many steps to take this organization retail, transform the business, and they took a lot of strategic initiatives to take this organization to where it is today. And at this point of time, I have decided to move on and pass on this baton to the next level of leaders. Consequently, the board has accepted my request and appointed my colleague, Mr. Deep Jaggi, as the Chief Executive Officer last Friday, and I will continue as Vice Chairman till my tenure completes, 5-year tenure completes on 17th April 2022. As a CEO, I have always felt responsible to plan a succession. If you look at my earlier organization in Shriram Transport, where I was CEO for 12 years, in 2005, when the private equities invested, I had identified my successor, who is the current CEO, and he was a business head in regional business head in South, located in Chennai. I brought him to Mumbai, and then I passed on the baton to him in 2012. In the last 10 years, he had done exceptionally well, taking the organization twice the asset size, and the market cap also doubled more than that. So I am very, very conscious about identifying my successor. And during the period of around January 2020, exactly 2 years back, when Brookfield has been contemplating an investment, we have put in place a succession plan and brought Mr. Deep Jaggi as Chief Business Officer when that position was not at all there. It was created specially to establish a second line of management. And Deep Jaggi, if I have to introduce him, was a hardcore operating person who had built credible businesses in HDB as well as Chola, very reputed NBFCs in the country. And in the CV financing business, he did an exceptional job, particularly in HDB, where he created a very profitable, credible business of commercial vehicles to an AUM of around 25,000 crores and the cumulative disbursements of more than 50,000 crores. In Chola also, he was heading the northern region and built a sizable business for Chola, which has still now remained as one of the best portfolios for that company. When Deep joined us in 2020 as Chief Business Officer, he immediately took on the mantle of managing the entire retail business of the company and did immense contribution in the last 15 months. If I have to mention that Deep is a natural leader with a lot of aspiration, capability, and ambition. And the leader is I always define leader as one who has followers. And in the case of Deep, he was followed by a very large number of people from his earlier organization, which made Indostar a very strong in terms of people, particularly in the niche business of commercial vehicle in the north, west, and east. Indostar already happens to be a strong company in the south, but Deep's team building capabilities have made north, west, and east very strong. So today, we are one of the strongest in terms of people all over the country. And he also worked on product mix changes, credit policy changes, brought in new concepts of smart branches, digitization, and all that in the last 15 months. And all of you are aware that last 15 months happens to be one of the challenging periods. In my career of 3 decades long in commercial vehicle finance business, I have not encountered such a challenging period of moratoriums, restructuring, COVID-1, COVID-2, and now COVID-3. But in this period, under the leadership of Deep, we have done 3,000 crores of fresh lending. And it would be heartening to note that out of these 3,000 crores, more than 90% of the portfolio, in spite of the challenging environment, remains in scale 1. So even though the business is focused mostly on the used vehicles, it's profitable, coming at 16 to 17% yield, plus excellent asset quality. So I am satisfied that I am leaving this company to a more competent, very capable leader who will take this organization, particularly in the retail business of CV and affordable housing finance business, where the company is planning to build a large volume. Deep will be the right person to lead this organization. So we have put in place a succession plan, and we have implemented it at the right time. I think the next 5 years is going to be very exciting for Indostar, and I will be, as one of the stakeholders, will be keenly watching the way this company is going to build up, and I will always be available to contribute in any manner which the board and the management thinks. With this, initial remarks, I would hand over the mic to Deep to make his comments, and then we are definitely available for your specific questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sridhar. Thank you to all the stakeholders for Thank you to all the stakeholders for, keeping yourself available for this call. I am really excited to take this role of CEO of Indostar and looking forward to meet all the expectations of all the stakeholders. Let me also start by saying that, I truly believe in a massive growth potential of this Indostar. As an organization, we have been doing a lot of work in the last 14, 15 months after, I joined. It was a very difficult time when I joined. I joined in the month of October 2020, when the first COVID wave was getting over. There were a lot of uncertainties in the external factors and internal environments. So when I talk about external environments, I'll just take you back to the month March 2020. March 2020 was a time when especially the vehicle industry was going from a transition where the ministry had shifted from Euro 4 to Euro 6, which meant the cost of the vehicle was going up by 15% approximately, which has impacted the retail customers a lot. Besides that, if you actually recall, our GDP was down in the month of March, and also we were going through the first COVID wave and there was a national lockdown. So it was a very, very difficult time. But, we also had some issues which were internal, especially, the inorganic portfolio was not behaving the way we wanted. But we also had certain strengths. The strengths were, we had a lot of, issues. There was no issue of the liquidity. And before I joined, there was an aggressive plan, which was a 5-year plan, made by the management, which was approved. So I had a challenge of a portfolio and external environment issues. Plus, I had to also plan a growth for 5 years, which was again a 4x, 5x kind of growth was expected out of me. So first thing I did was primarily, I saw what is the portfolio and also saw the network. So the kind of plan that we had made, we were actually present more towards south and west. So for the plan, the first thing that it was required was to have a pan-India presence. So I had a discussion with Mr. Sridhar, and we made a network expansion plans towards north and eastern part of the country, which were at that time were the untapped markets for us. So the second thing was on the product mix. When you talk about product mix, we had issues in terms of inorganic portfolio, plus due to COVID, there were certain products which were hampered, like buses. The school buses was a very good portfolio otherwise, but with this problem of COVID, there was a lot of delinquency. So we made a plan thinking that even if there is a COVID-1 or COVID-2 or COVID-3, it should impact minimal to us. We made changes in our policies. If you see my old portfolio, approximately 35% was XCV new. We came out of it. We focused on used portfolio, which is a high yield portfolio, and it is a depreciated product. So even if it is a COVID-2 or COVID-3, the losses will be minimal and my NIM will improve. That was the objective of getting into this used product. Besides that, we also started focusing on used cars, light commercial vehicles, because, even if there is a COVID-2 or COVID-3, the internal consumption of this country, which has a population of 135 billion, there is a need of groceries, there is a need, and which is all taken care by light commercial vehicles and ICVs. So we focus those products which were more internal from the consumption point of view of this country.
So we worked on these parts. We started our expansion in the north and the eastern part of country. I am happy to share with you that we started our business in east only in the month of March, and today approximately 12% of my business is coming from east. Similarly, earlier our portfolio had 70% contribution from south. Today it has gone below 30%. That doesn't mean that we have degrown in south. Rather, let me share with you, we have added branches in south as well. But the other parts of country have grown much faster than south. So today approximately 30% each is coming from north and southern part of the country, and 12 to 13% is coming from east, and rest is coming from the western part of the country. So it has made us a pan-India player, which is required when you have laid down an aggressive 5-year plan. You have to be a player which has to have a pan-India presence. So we approximately, in the plan, we are approximately going to double our branches by March 22, with a special focus on the untapped territories where we were not present. Coming to the product line, so it is actually when you talk about geographies, so we have de-risked our product from the geographies. So from a south or a west base, we are a pan-India in terms of geography. This was the objective, besides the expansion plan. Second is, you have to de-risk yourself from the products. So first thing was, in the COVID times, you lose more money towards the heavy commercial vehicles new. So we discontinued that. We focused on used. We have built up new as well the better NIM. Now we are also focusing on used cars. We are focusing on used commercial construction equipment. We are focusing on the used tractor business. And these will be the growth drivers for coming years, because we will have to focus on building up different verticals within the commercial vehicle space as well to deliver the kind of objective which has been laid down by the management. The third thing that we have done is on the digitization front. Now we are committed and focused to get ahead on the digitization curve. We have been working with Indostar Go Digit plans since the day I joined, and we have engaged KPMG and other fintechs to help us to achieve that. The fourth objective that we have taken was having a separate collection vertical. With the kind of speed that we are building up our portfolio, I think we need to have a separate collection vertical. So the business is well positioned with a strong balance sheet. We believe that we have well provided for the future credit costs. The collections overall in the last 2-3 quarters has stabilized, and now we are trending towards the close to pre-COVID levels. Additionally, today we are one of the best capitalized in the industry with a capital adequacy ratio close to about 35%. Leverage is 1.6x, which provides enough margin of safety. I can assure you that Indostar will grow more profitability in coming years, as we will have a place of lot of emphasis on the quality of the loan book and on the governance. So on the third thing is, Indostar is also committed to become a pure play in retail finance company. As you are aware that you had exposures in the corporate book, which is coming down. Today it is less than 20%. And today 80% of portfolio is retail. And it is going to be further, the corporate book will further come down. We are not focusing that part. We do not expect any changes in our business plans. We are also focused towards the profitability and targeting high ROA products, where we have a specialized offerings and experience. Our focus will continue on 2 major products. One is the used vehicle financing, and second is the affordable housing finance. Today, since November, when we have joined, 80% of our commercial vehicle business is used vehicles. It is very profitable, high NIMs. We have established ourselves in this segment because we feel that there is a space available. We feel this segment is under-penetrated. Now, we will be adding more products, as I have mentioned earlier. We will be focusing on used cars, used tractors. We are in the process of building up a product mix which will be resilient to a third wave or a fourth wave of the COVID. Our used vehicle finance is currently largely focused on the commercial vehicles. In the used vehicles, we have seen a revival of CV cycle, offshoots of which are more than visible, a small base which will increase multifold. We expect very strong retail disbursement, solid balance sheet, and we are well capitalized. Increased retail penetration in Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4 cities. Focus on products with unique specialization. I am sure that we will be able to grow the loan book 4 to 5x in the medium term. The improving freight movement environment for truckers, freight rates for the truckers have improved by approximately 5 to 10% in the month of December. Freight rates held up through 3Q, and then coupled with the stable retail fuel prices has aided truck operator margins. This will further help companies like Indostar, who is going to focus this product. We also have seen a marked improvement in the freight demand. The rise of freight rates are largely driven by industrial activity. Just let me also share with you that even today, in the new vehicles, although the industry is reviving, the new vehicle, new heavy commercials, it is not at the level of pre-COVID. So that demand is being met, especially by the used heavy commercial vehicles. And that is where we are going to play a key role. A large market opportunity with there are too many players focusing on used vehicle, particularly in our core segments like small fleet owners. Few of our competitors are dealing with their own issues around capital adequacy, viability of financing, and we think we have a good platform, abundant liquidity. And I have no doubt in saying that competitive intensity today is limited and far lower than pre-COVID for us. Now, coming to the affordable housing, we have recently recapitalized our affordable housing company and continue to make truly independent. Here again, we benefit from a small scale, which helps us to grow faster, a very large market opportunity, established process, and fantastic team under Mr. Shrijit Menon, who is designated as Deputy CEO for the affordable housing. We will be overall a very bottom line focused NBFC with improving profitability, not just through the normal NIMs, but also we will be also targeting reduction in the cost. One of the key contribution comes from the capex, reduction in capex. We brought in a concept of smart branches. When we go towards Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, we don't need large branches. We brought in smart branches where we can break even in 9 to 10 months. So that has given us an edge by adding approximately 200 branches within this year. And we will continue to add more branches, same number of branches, even next year if it is required to deliver the desired numbers. So overall, in summary, looking at all the external factors and internal factors, I'm very excited to lead Indostar in the next phase of profitable growth. I also give special thanks to my mentor, Mr. Sridhar, who besides, I had a good experience in the market, but He guided me, he mentored me in the last 4, 5, 6 months in other segments, other verticals like risk, audit, HR. He has been guiding me to take over this position for the last 5, 6 months. With that, I am happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one. The first question is from the line of Pankaj Prasoon from HNI Investor. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Deep Jaggi sir and Sridhar sir, and best of luck for the Sridhar sir for the next assignment. And Deep Jaggi sir, it is very nice to hear that you are going to head the Indostar, because I have a great trust in the company that it is going to be a good wealth creator. Just a few questions, and in 3-4 years, what kind of the branch expansion you are looking at, the number of branches? What is the current branches are there? Plus, just can you throw some light on the risk management side, because the last time the company has a poor risk management track record. That's why we had seen this kind of mayhem in the entire portfolio and all. So how you are going to address that?
Thank you, Pankaj. So now coming to the branches in the next 4-5 years, as I have already mentioned, we are looking at 4x, 5x kind of growth. We have plans to add approximately 700 to 800 branches pan-India. That will depend primarily how we grow. We can add more as well. It depends how we are going to grow overall. We can exceed our expectations of the management as well. In terms of current year, we are just doubling our numbers. We were approximately at 200 plus branches on March 2021. So we should be at about 380 plus to 400 kind of branches by March 2022. In terms of quality of portfolio, I had already mentioned about our issues. We have first made changes in our product mix. That was point number 1. Point number 2, we also have a better collection vertical which was not there earlier. Third is the quality of sourcing. I have brought my own team. I have one certain set of people who have established in difficult markets like North and East. They are not easy markets. So I brought people who know those markets. Should not be an issue. And as also mentioned by Mr. Sridhar in the initial remarks, just let me also share with you again the portfolio which we have built after November 2020, which is about 14 months, has also gone through a COVID-2 wave, which was there in the month of May and June. Our stage 1 today in the new portfolio is in excess of 90 plus. Stage 1 is 90% plus, which speaks about the kind of sourcing, the kind of collection mechanisms that we have built up in the last 12 to 14 months. I think that should take care of your answer, I suppose. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Actually, I also belong to the banking side only. I had started my career with State Bank and Axis Bank, and risk management also I had worked. So the key, the integrity of the people is very, very important in these cases. So it has to be technology enabled with the integrity of the people. So just is a request that please keep eye on all those things so that in future it should not fall back on us.
Rest assured, we are working on that. Even we are working on the digital platform, as I mentioned. By Jan Feb, within this month or next month, we're going to roll out our Go Digit app, which will take care of all these things which we have mentioned.
And Deep sir, one more request is there, because I had seen in the past in this our IndoStar case, many of the top management people have used their ESOP like daily cash flow management. That is very bad. So those things should not happen, because it hurts the sentiment of the investor like us also.
We will take care of it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one. The next question is from the line of Gopinath from PNR Investments. Please go ahead.
Sir, I've joined a bit late. I might have missed the answer already. May I know that was it well planned that Mr. Sridhar will leave by this time, or is it something that has happened in the middle, or what is the reason behind it? In an elaborated way, if you can.
So I would request Mr. Sridhar to answer this question, sir.
As I explained in the beginning, this mechanism of succession had been put in place, and I wanted to move on completion of my 5-year term. So that's purely a personal call, and I don't think that you should attribute any reason to that. So I have explained in detail that how we have thought about this succession. And today, with the kind of changes which are happening in the environment, so I have also felt that after spending 3 decades, more than 3 decades in this business, I should move on and leave this company's operation to a younger and energetic team, which we have explained Deep Jaggi is the right person. So that is the reason for putting in place this succession.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one. The next question is from the line of Abhijit Tibrewal from Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Yes, thanks. So Deep sir, while you have, in greater detail kind of articulated the strategy of Indostar Finance going forward, but I had just a couple of specific questions. So we don't talk a lot about SME a lot. So if you could just kind of dwell upon the SME segment a little bit. And secondly, if you could kind of help us understand, given that we've already talked about the kind of growth that we are looking for in branches, but in terms of the next 5 years, what is the kind of growth aspirations do we have? Where is it that we see our loan book growing to at the end of this 5 years?
Thank you, Abhijit, for the question. In terms of SME, we will continue to build high quality SME business, which will be focused on the smaller ticket and high yield SME loans. As on today, there are, due to COVID too, there has been certain issues in terms of restructuring. We have corrected that, and we will be focusing on SME business, which will be low ticket. Now coming to the branch expansion as well as the growth. See, we are a retail organization which is going to focus on used business. Most of the branches, we have covered actually all the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities. All kind of branches which we will be bringing, which will be established, will be in tier 3, tier 4 cities. That is where we feel there is potential for us, the kind of product mix that we are looking at, the kind of rates that we are looking at, that's a market which is still untapped. I'll just give you an example of East. Now, East, I've been focusing on East primarily. East, even today, is under-penetrated with the private banks. It is being addressed by only a couple of NBFCs. We see an opportunity there. Similarly, we will be continuously working on the new geographies, Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, where we feel that it will be beneficial for the growth of the company. Thank you.
Right, sir. And so to that extent, I mean, while you did talk about a separate collections vertical, can you kind of help us and the investors understand what is it that we have done there in terms of building a separate collections vertical? And to that extent, how can it lead to better collections for you in the coming years?
See, what we do primarily is that, the business is sourced by the business team. First 6 to 8 months, the business team is responsible for collection. After that, we hand it over for the follow-up, because the sales team has to also focus on increasing business productivity, sourcing productivity. To support, we will need people, and that will be in terms of collections. So we have built up a team which is going to follow up and ensure that we exceed 90% plus stage 1 at all times. As we are building up the portfolio today, our ticket size is getting smaller as we are into the used vehicles. The number of cases will be very, very large. After 6 months, after 8 months, you will see the ticket size going down, and number of cases, number of customers will be very, very large. It will not be possible at certain places to follow up by the sales team. For that support, we need collection team wherever you have, a follow-up is required. That is the objective of the collection team. I hope it answers your question.
Sure, sir. Thanks. And sir, maybe one question from my end. During your opening remarks, you also talked about a lot of initiatives that you have taken to kind of further digitization in your company. And you also suggested that you engaged with, or you're still engaging with KPMG and a few fintechs. So if you could maybe help us understand what is it that we are doing here now, and how is it going to help Industar?
So, in our kind of business, TAT is very, very important. We need analytics, we need to support the customer. Today, what happens is that, if the customer there is a sourcing done by one of our employees, the file is moving. Prior to that, you can upload the file on the app. You can take faster decisions. It improves the productivity of our guys. It gives faster results. It gives faster decisioning. So it will overall help the faster response to the customers. That's the objective of building up the digitalization platform.
Sure, sir. And sir, maybe one last question before I again kind of request the operator to open it for the question queue. So if you would just kind of help us understand these last 2 years and out of it 15 months you've already been here at Industar. So in the last 2 years, what all has structurally changed at Industar because of which investors can now look forward to a different Industar than what we had in the past?
Okay. So we are very clear today, we have built up a portfolio. Even if, we have a COVID 3 or COVID 4, it should give a minimal impact. Then we are working at 16.5%, 17% of IRR, building up a higher NIMs. We are not compromising on that. Third thing is we have cut down HCV new. Whenever there is a down cycle, the maximum money lost per vehicle is an HCV new. Today we are doing a product which is a high yield and which is already depreciated. Even if you repossess, if there is a delinquency, you don't lose money. You lose minimal money. So that helps overall. And this is being sourced at about 200 basis point higher to 300 basis point higher than HCV new. That's one. The second is housing, affordable housing. This has started working as an independent company. These are the two basic changes that we have done. Today, I'll not mind sharing that in the last 12-14 months, our HCV new is not even 1%. It is less than that, and most of the customers are existing customers. Besides that, we have worked on the processes. Largest change is in setting up a robust collection infrastructure. Reach. Now, we are going closer to the customer. So from 200 branches, when we go to 380 to 400 branches, we are going much closer to the customer. So it helps. These are the 4-5 things that we have taken care, which should help us in future. And if we can deliver 90%, even going through the COVID-2 wave, I think that speaks volumes about the kind of portfolio that we have built up in the last 1 year. I hope it answers your question.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Manjeet Buaria from Solidarity Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Thank you for taking my questions. I have 3 of them. The first one was I wanted to understand, what are your insights or reflections from the whole IIFL transaction in terms of, what went wrong? And perhaps if you could also throw some light on why we couldn't identify those issues in our due diligence, please.
Fine. So, thank you, Manjeet. I would not say that, where we went wrong. I would say it is more to do with the external factors like, when the COVID impacted and there was a down cycle. And the IIFL book had more exposure toward new heavy commercial vehicles and the buses segment. With COVID-1 coming in, this was impacted much higher than the other products. So that is where I think we went wrong. And it is not, I would not say we went wrong. It was the external environment which brought all the problems of IIFL.
Right, sir.
And second thing, let me also share with you today. Commercial vehicle book. It has a tenure of about average tenure of 36 to 38 months. We bought this book 2.5 years back. Today, that book is hardly there. It's already run off. Our old book, be it ICF book, Indostar book, or India Infoline book, as we speak, is less than 35%. And the kind of pace that we are growing out, by 31st of March, this book will be less than 20%. And once you have that book running off, I think we are out of it already. And we have provided enough for that book to take care of losses in future.
Right, sir. Thank you. My second question was, you mentioned in your opening remarks that the competitive intensity in the industry is much lesser than it was pre-COVID. If you could just go into some detail here in terms of, who are the players who are losing out, and how long can this intensity stay the way it is? With improving times, wouldn't liquidity and consequently competition come back faster?
See, when you talk about used vehicle business, there are 2 major players. One obviously is Shriram. So Shriram focuses on first-time users. And then you talk about Chola. Now, the second company is Chola. Chola focuses on smaller vehicles, which is light commercial vehicles, and again they focus on the first-time buyers. Now, if you see, we are focusing especially only on first-time buyers, where we have only one player, actually. So we find that this is the place where we can build up volumes. So that is why we started focusing on this particular product. With the expertise that we have in our team in the heavy commercial vehicles, it is easy for us to build up volumes here and then create a foundation for future and then build up on the other products such as used cars, used tractors, commercial construction equipment used. So it will be win-win situation for the company as well as the stakeholders.
Okay. And in terms of this competitive intensity, one follow-up. So, is the competition struggling for capital really? Because you mentioned that as a point, but when we look at players like Shriram Transport, obviously capital is not an issue. So I couldn't tie up with who is struggling with capital right now.
So there are a lot of small NBFCs, which are focusing on tier 2, tier 3 cities. We are, there are more than 10,000 NBFCs in this country. We, as in the industry, we will know only 3 or 5 names. Now, especially this used vehicle is either done by the people who are in an unorganized segment or the smaller NBFCs, which are struggling for capital. So those are the players which are going to be creating space for us. That is what we feel, and that is where we have been successful. If you have seen our volumes, we showed good volumes in quarter 2 as on 30th of September, and you will also see certain numbers in quarter 3 when we declare our results. So we are growing month on month on this particular product.
All right. Sir, my final question was, we are owned by private equity promoters and they have their own constraints in terms of, their fund lives and having to exit their investments. Now that may require them needing the management to take some calls which make sense from, let's say, a 5-year perspective. But as a professional manager who would want to build this up for 10, 15 years, that calls may not make so much sense. So, how do you kind of reach a compromise or, how does this challenge gets tackled internally, if you could throw some light into it, vis-a-vis, what they would want from a 5-year perspective and what's probably best for the business from a 10, 15-year perspective?
So if I talk about today, I can discuss only about 5-year kind of plan. Today we are being owned by Brookfield as well as Everstone. Everstone is the people who are the founder member of this company. Brookfield entered into this venture approximately 1.5 to 2 years back, and since then, and they are the major stakeholders today. We know that they wherever they invest, they have at least 5 to 7 years of horizon, and by the time in the next 1 year and 2 years, the kind of growth that we are looking at, I think we will be a very, very stable player in the market. We will not have any issue. Once you have numbers in your place, I don't think there will be an overall issue. But yes, as on today, we are seeing a horizon of 5 to 7 years from the private equity point of view.
Right, sir. I appreciate that they would have at least a 5-year horizon, maybe a 7-year horizon. My question was more in terms of, let me put it the other way. If there are certain aspects of the business which the professional management led by you wants to run in a certain way, which does not gel with those plans, how much freedom do you have to operate within it? I'm just trying to understand the dynamics between the promoter and the professional management. Is it fully delegated or how does it work?
We are fully, Sridhar sir was at the helm of affairs. We are fully empowered to take all those decisions. There is no day-to-day interference from the private equity.
Right, sir. Thank you. This is helpful. I have a follow-up question. Can I ask it or can you come back in the queue?
Mr. Bhuvaria, may we request that you return to the question
Sure.
for follow-up questions, sir?
Sure.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Gopinath from PNR Investments. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. The question is related to the investments that our PE funds make. They're 5% and they're supposed to bring it down. Are there any plans that are concrete now how they are going to do this?
This question, this is more to do with the investors. I am not in a position to answer. It is better, this can be answered by the investors, not by me. They have their plans, what is there that they can only share.
Okay. Will it not impact our?
It will be wrong on me to comment on that part because it is not in my review.
Okay. My only worry is how it is going to affect the company from our as a company. Is it a mandatory thing that we have to get it done to 75%, or is it only their problem?
So, Gopinathji, this is one question, which has to be answered by the investor. It's not in my review. I'll not be able to comment on that.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pankaj Prasoon from HNI Investor. Please go ahead.
This is my follow-up question from Deep Jaggi, sir. So, sir, how big is this used tractor market can be in 3-4 years?
So we will be working on this product. I know this market is primarily, in India, there is about 80,000 tractors sold every year. And the average tenure is about 2 to 3 years for this particular product. After that, these particular products are available in refinance market, and also there is a huge transaction which happen in the exchange melas which are run primarily by the manufacturers, and these used tractors are sold in the eastern part of the country. So we feel that it's a large market with 70,000 tractors being sold every year. Sorry, 70,000 tractors a month.
Right. That's why I was also thinking, sir.
So 70,000 tractors a month.
So I think who all are the players who are financing under this segment? I had hardly heard about it.
So it is still not, it is not being dominated by any particular manufacturer or NBFC. It is being done in certain geographies by certain players and also by certain small NBFC which I have mentioned. So this is a place which we find it is a sweet spot for us, and we will focus the same in the future. It is a safe product rather even than the new tractor, because in the new tractor what happens is 15 to 20% of the tractors are not registered. When you are doing a used tractors, all the tractors are registered, and it is at a very, very low ticket size, and you generally don't lose money.
Sir, and this is the final question from my side. So, in 5 years, do you see our asset book is growing towards $10 billion? And what is the strategy in the housing finance side? What is the ticket size, and who all are our targeted consumer segment?
So as of now, we have already got a 5-year plan, which we are looking at a 4x, 5x kind of growth. We will be focusing on that. In case we are growing faster, then we will, relook at our plan in the middle of, 2024 or so. But as on today, we are looking at 4x, 5x kind of growth. In terms of housing, the major focus is again in tier 3, tier 4 cities, which is a self-construction 8 lakh kind of ticket size, which is also being focused by the Government of India. So there is a lot of subsidies being given by the Government of India in this particular segment. So this is where is our focus, primarily at 14%, 13%, 13.5%, 14% kind of take. We are not looking at a rate of 6.5%, 7%, which is going to HDFCs or, the SBIs of the world. We are focusing especially on tier 3, tier 4 cities, 8 lakh, 10 lakhs ticket.
That's great. That's a great opportunity. So I would like to connect you personally sometime in the future, sir. I will not take much time of others. Thank you.
Sure. Anytime.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhijit Tibrewal from Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. And sir, just one last question, maybe in the interest of time from my end. Given that you have already suggested that, at least over the next 4-5 years, we'll be at least making an endeavor to grow the book by 4 times to 5 times from current levels. And given that our focus is predominantly going to be on let's say tier 3, tier 4 cities where the businesses that we do are typically high NIM businesses. So sir, I understand, things have been rough for the last 2 years during COVID. But going forward, what is the steady state rate of credit costs that you expect from the kind of product segments that you are kind of looking to build, which is UCVs, SMEs, and affordable housing? And what can that eventually feed into a steady state ROA for you, sir?
So Abhijit, what is happening is that there is already a restriction coming. The average tenure life of the vehicle is being frozen by the government at 15 years. Once that happens, so you imagine every year 2.5 lakh trucks will be going out of the market. To replace that, you need vehicles. And that's the segment, where, the vehicle age is between 3 to 12 years. That is where is going to be the segment which is going to grow. And second thing is that, there was about 35% of customers earlier used to be of first-time buyers for the new vehicles. Now, with new Euro 6 norms, it is not viable for our first-time users to get into this space. So what he will do is, he will get into this used space. He will get into light commercial vehicles. He will get into ICVs. This is where is exactly we are focusing by understanding that this is a market which is going to grow much more exponentially than the new H series. Also, let me also share with you, before 2023, we will not reach the pre-COVID heavy commercial new numbers. We will not touch. But overall economy is growing. So when the economy is growing and trucks are going out, 2.5 lakh trucks are going out of the system every year. So then where is the the demand is going to be met? It is from the used vehicles. That's the space that we are targeting.
Sure.
I hope it answers your question, Abhijit.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Abhijit Tibrewal for closing comments.
Yes, thanks, Faizan. Let me take this opportunity to thank the team at Industar Capital Finance for giving us this opportunity to host their update call today. And kind of thanks to all the participants for joining us on the call today.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, and please feel free to reach any one of us for any further queries.
Thank you so much for taking time for us. We are available anytime to answer any kind of queries that you have. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Motilal Oswal Financial Services Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.